In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to enable and use webhooks in Azure DevOps pipelines, covering both triggered webhooks, which we also call incoming webhooks, and outgoing webhooks, also known as service hooks. By the end of this tutorial, you'll be able to automate your workflows more effectively through seamless communication between different systems and services. First, let's briefly dive into what a webhook is within the context of Azure DevOps. Knowing this will give you a better understanding of why and how to use them. For service hooks, think of it as Azure DevOps' ability to send a notification, specifically a JSON payload, to an external HTTP or HTTPS endpoint whenever a certain event takes place. An example of such an event could be when a build is completed or a work item is changed. For pipelines, this functionality allows you to trigger a YAML pipeline from an external HTTP post request by using an incoming webhook service connection along with the resources, webhooks parameter in your YAML file. In a nutshell, an outgoing webhook means Azure DevOps communicates with an external service, while an incoming webhook is used to trigger actions within Azure DevOps from an external system. Let's start with setting up an outgoing webhook, also known as a service hook. This configuration is useful if you'd like Azure DevOps to inform an external service, like sending a notification that a pipeline has finished running. To do this, navigate to your Azure DevOps project and go to the project settings. Here, locate and click on Service Hooks. You'll want to click on Create Subscription, and then choose Webhooks as your desired service. After clicking Next, you'll be prompted to select the event type you're interested in. This could be events like a build completion or an update to a work item. You can further fine-tune this by setting up filters based on criteria like area path, project, or branch. On the following screen, you'll need to enter the target URL of the external service. Remember, it has to use HTTPS for security reasons. Set any necessary headers or authentication details. Decide on the extent of the resource payload you wish to send, whether all, minimal, or none. And it's a good idea to test the webhook to ensure everything's working smoothly. If the test is successful, clicking Finish completes the setup. From this point on, whenever the event occurs in Azure DevOps, it will send out the corresponding JSON payload to your specified external service URL. Now, let's switch gears to setting up an incoming webhook, which is used for triggering an Azure DevOps pipeline from an external system's HTTP request. This setup starts similarly. Go to Project Settings, but this time you'll navigate to Service Connections and click on New Service Connection. Select Incoming Webhook as the type. Here, you're required to provide some information, including a name for the webhook connection. You may also include a secret or a header name if you need to validate signatures. It's crucial to grant access to pipelines, especially if you want multiple pipelines to be able to use this particular webhook. Within your YAML pipeline, reference the webhook resource under the Resources section. A simple example includes specifying that no trigger or PR should start this pipeline, and naming your webhook trigger and connection. The Steps section can include a script indicating the pipeline was triggered by an external webhook. Finally, you'll use the webhook endpoint URL to send an HTTP post request. The URL will look something like this: https dev.azure.com, your organization/APIs, public, distributed task, webhooks, your webhook name, API version, SHA-6, 0 preview, https dev.azure.com, your organization, APIs, public, distributed task, webhooks, your webhook name, API version 6.0 preview. Ensure that the request body aligns with what your pipeline expects to function correctly. And there you have it. A detailed guide on using both outgoing and incoming webhooks within Azure DevOps pipelines. This powerful feature allows for more streamlined and automated workflows, helping you connect disparate systems effectively.